Jeb, we killed him in episode 1. I mean, well, he died. We didn't kill him. All right. But now we are back for Scuffed Program 2. Let's get it.
So when the metal hit his mug, he just sunk in place. 100K Holla, chillin' Bahamas. Come home to your crib and throw in your mama.
What is good, HollaSquad? We are the latest squad on the YouTube platform. Listen, today we are back with another reaction. And we have some more space program, all right? Now, we are in outer space, traveling to distant galaxies. And we're learning a lot of stuff. I learned a lot watching these videos, I ain't gonna lie. So we're gonna hop straight into this one. How did Jeb get resurrected, though? I thought we was using somebody else. Let's see.
Hello again. Bill here. Today, we're back in KSP.
Okay.
Ready and willing to send our brave Kerbonauts off to almost certain death. Again. In this episode of our space catastrophe journey, we're taking another step towards the stars and going to the other planets in our own solar system.
Hey there.
In case you forgot,
Easy move,
our glorious,
easy move.
patriotic, and ethically dubious space program has one goal. Reach another star system, land on its exoplanet, plant a flag, and return. Great sacrifices have been made in this pursuit, and a great many more will surely come. So what happened in the last episode? Well, we flew our first mission, almost got to orbit, actually got to orbit, told Kevin off for being a terrible student. Yeah, you heard me.
Done.
Went on a boring trip around the moon, and then did a solid moon landing. Nice.
Stone was good, was good.
And Jeb died. Rest in peace. It's okay though, because we have a replacement pilot, Valentina Kerman. Like
Shout
the
out
video
Valentina.
if you think Valentina will live out a long and illustrious career in the Bean space program.
I give her about 13 minutes before she died.
To achieve our ambitious goals, we've loaded the game up with mods, creating a buggy, unstable, and feature-packed mess of a game. In this video, we're going to go and create some
Monkey
surface
Man,
bases
thank you for the
on the planets
follow.
in our solar system. We'll sprinkle a couple on Duna and Eve, maybe some around the local gas giant Jewel, and finally, one on the furthest out planet, Elu. So what have we done since the last video? Well, a few things, all within the Kerbin system. We sent Valentina to Kerbin's other moon, Minmus. We went to the moon a couple more times, and we also, maybe, could have, possibly, killed all the remaining Kerbals. That didn't take long. Valentina died in a tragic time acceleration accident while trying to get back into
I said 13 minutes. She lasted for 1 minute and 50 seconds.
her capsule on the moon. Bob also died in a tragic time acceleration accident while trying to land on the moon. Oh! My fuck! And Bill died after taking this terrible affront to God for a high-speed test drive. Oh.
You're
So no
finished.
more Jeb, Val, Bob, or Bill.
We need some new
Rest in
characters.
Instead, we have recruited Urk and Elza Kerman. They've so far flown a few missions each, and not died in the process. Yet. Anyway, let us continue.
Again. Launch 1. What we doing with it?
Ah yes, the sweet sound of incredibly loud birds. We're starting our interplanetary exploration with the easiest planet to visit, Duna, which is the Kerbal equivalent of Mars.
Okay.
Our first mission will place an unmanned probe in orbit. This probe will map out the surface and establish a site for future missions to land and perhaps even colonize. For this mission, we have created the most powerful rocket ever built, for like the 7th time. Its name, Joe Bidome. It has 2 big solid boosters, a powerful core stage, and a very efficient upper stage. Now let's get this lad into orbit.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Space Center? You
Very
turn it
nice.
into a Space Center?
We're left with precisely 6,262 meters per second of delta V. Oi sir, what's delta V?
Yeah, what's that mean?
Speed. Quite simple. It's how fast you're moving.
Oh.
For example, 4 meters per second. Or, for my American viewers, 2.77 Barrett M82 A1s per second. Velocity.
That's
It
crazy.
represents speed, but with direction. 4 meters per second to the right. In physics, and in maths, the capital delta from the Greek alphabet refers to a change in something. So, delta V would be a change in velocity.
Yes.
For example, we're traveling forwards in a straight line at 100 meters per second. If we point our craft forward, how fast would you expect we go after burning all of our fuel?
200.
Well, since we have a... Kevin?
Kevin, what were you about
Be
to say?
quiet. Well, since we have 150 meters per second of delta V, we'd expect to be going around 250 meters per second. And sure enough, we do. If we face backwards and do the same experiment, we go 50 meters per second in the opposite direction. Nice. So why is this useful? Well, it basically measures how far our craft can go. Remember, our craft is being pulled by gravity. In order to escape its influence, we need to go fast.
Facts.
In order to go fast, we need to change our velocity, and thus, we need delta V. People have made these nice looking maps that give a rough estimate of how much you need to go anywhere in the solar
This
system.
game is
As we can see,
elite.
to get to Duna, we need to escape Kerbal's gravity, and then extend our orbit to intersect Duna's.
Imagine they created video games just to collect data, like for free from other people doing stuff. Like, bro, I've been playing this space game, but they use like real numbers to get real data. You know what I'm saying? Come on now.
According to the map, this will take us around 1,000 meters per second. Anyway, let's go to Duna.
Okay. What is this dude from, bro? I see him on like 3 meme comps. I never see him on any other website.
To get our desired trajectory, we carefully plot out a course to a nice low orbit that is highly inclined. However, on the way there, I do this.
Oh!
What happened here is my incredibly fat, sausage-like fingers mashed the time accelerate button and shot me straight past Duna.
Are you
Nice. Not to worry though, we packed way more fuel than necessary and can literally just turn around and chuck her in reverse. To prevent shooting past again, we point backwards at the closest approach and slow down until we get a nice circular orbit. And there we have it. We're in orbit and mapping the surface of our first planet. On
That's
to...
fire. Launch 2. Let's get it.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, Launch 2 was a
We got to check out Internet Historian. People have been telling me about that channel, so we got to check that out. For
complete disaster. For Launch 2, we built another powerhouse of a rocket, Pog Frog 1, with one simple goal: footprints and a flag on Duna. The rocket was going to place this section here in orbit of Duna. This lander would then separate and fly itself down to the surface, where we'd do whatever it is we wanted to do. Whether that be running temperature scans, planting important
Armor
flags,
thickness.
observing the goo, or dropping the Kerbal repeatedly on his head. After doing this important science, we'd hop in the lander and fly it back into orbit to meet up with the transfer stage. Fairly simple, right? Yeah, you'd think. Anyway, let's launch. It was here in low Kerbal orbit that I realized my first mistake. Luckily, it was fairly inconsequential. Instead of a scientist, the game had placed an engineer into the rocket, meaning we had to launch a quick ship to swap out the Kerbals. After this, we transferred to Duna. In orbit, we separated the lander, hopped inside, and lowered our orbit into the atmosphere.
Yeah, we did, we did.
And there we have it. Urk hopped out and planted our first interplanetary flag. He named this incredible site
Yes.
Monkey Planet, now claimed, and inscribed the plaque with truly an event to behold. It was at this point that I ended the stream. It was quite successful. Nothing exploded, no Kerbals died, generally, good stream. If only the next went as smoothly. The next stream began where the previous left off.
Launch 3, let's
I've
get
just
it.
landed and collected some sweet science. Now, in KSP, you can quite easily rack up huge amounts of science by visiting different biomes. And this is what I planned to do first thing this stream. Lucky for us, there was a different biome quite close to our landing site, so I decided to go and visit. And then, this happened.
Imagine that happening in real
Well,
life,
fuck.
bro.
No way to get back into orbit, no way to meet up with the transfer stage, and no way to get back home. Poor Urk was stranded.
That's
So,
crazy.
we immediately got to work on
Rescue mission. Let's go get our mans.
This was actually quite easy to design, because we'd already done it. Introducing PogFrog 1.5. Thank you. All we had to do was remove the science experiments, most of the transfer stage, add an antenna, and we were ready for launch.
Okay.
So, we launched. However, on the way up to orbit, this happened. Yes, that is in fact where the engine is supposed to be.
That's tough. You
Despite
built
this
it wrong?
minor readjustment, we pressed on with the upper stage and made it into orbit. In orbit, we opened up the solar panels and set an alarm for Duna's transfer window, which was going to be in around 150 days, meaning Urk had to entertain himself on Duna's surface for over half a year.
That's
Poor
nuts.
We then set time acceleration to 1 million times and quickly got to the transfer window. Oi! Just wondering what a transfer window is?
Kevin, shut your mouth, right? Asking all them questions.
Nah, that's it. I've had enough.
Kevin, you're
Anyway,
done.
class, you may be wondering what a transfer window is. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Today, we're learning some more basic orbital mechanics. So, here I am, in orbit at 75 kilometers in altitude, only just above Kerbal's atmosphere. Here is Jim. Say hi, Jim. He's orbiting at 150 kilometers in altitude. Which one do you expect orbits Kerbal faster? If you said Jim, you're wrong, and you should feel bad. I orbit faster. But why? Well, firstly, if you cast your mind back to circle geometry, this circumference is smaller than this one, so it has less overall distance to travel. On top of this, my craft is experiencing stronger gravity because it's closer to Kerbal. Stronger gravity means we need more force in the opposite direction to cancel it out, which means we need to go faster. Hence, our speed is higher, and our distance is shorter, making each orbit much faster
Makes
than
sense.
Jim. This demonstration also applies to planets. Kerbal is closer to the Sun than Duna, and thus orbits faster. Sometimes they're close together, sometimes they're far apart. Now we would like to travel between them. Lucky for us, there's a time when they line up just right and a craft can travel between them very easily for relatively low fuel. This time is called a transfer window.
That's crazy.
The downside, of course, is you have to wait for it.
Facts.
Bringing us back to PogFrog 1.5, sitting in orbit of Kerbal waiting for the optimal transfer window. And would you look at that, it looks like we're ready to go.
The fact that this is like real, it's actually very scary. So y'all just enjoy your 2 feet on the concrete gravel, all right? Because ain't no way I won't be in space doing this, all right? When the Jedi come and the Star War, the Death Star is up there, I ain't going up there, bro. I'm staying right here, okay? Waiting for transfer windows to switch space stations. I'm good.
Now, we have a slight problem. Our lander is quite low on fuel, and our Kerbal is about 19 kilometers away. Quite close to a half marathon distance. So,
Half
we better start
marathon's
waddling.
not that bad. I mean, when you put in perspective that you've been waiting for 165 days.
Oh wow, would you look at that? The footage corrupted, and we're here. Amazing. We seem to be very low on fuel, but that should be okay. Let's get out of here.
Do not crash, boy. Opinion of spaghetti, alright. So it's a good starter meal.
What the fuck?
Nice and cheap.
Hold
you
on,
know what I'm
let me fix
saying? Some noodles, spaghetti sauce. Might throw some meat in there. Sauce. Why you do that?
Ah, there we go. A nice round orbit created by our large amounts of fuel and Delta V that we absolutely had on our rocket without question.
Hopefully.
No questions. Only problem here is we seem to have run out of fuel, and we need to meet up with the transfer stage in orbit. But we can't, because there's no fuel. So Urk is stranded again. I think you know what this means.
Another rescue mission. Launch 3. Rescue mission 2.
This mission is even simpler than the last one. Because Urk is no longer on the surface of Duna, we don't need to include a lander. Instead, we can simply include a small orbital vehicle for Urk to use to reunite him with the transfer stage. Unfortunately for Urk, although this rocket is on the pad and ready to go, he'll still need to wait another 150 days for the transfer window and another 100 for the transfer itself.
This man has been up there for a whole year. Spaghetti's a W. I think it's a W. It's definitely not an L.
And we're here. Urk, however, doesn't have any fuel in his EVA pack, which means we need to move the rocket just right in order for him to grab onto the ladder. And there we go. We get in, meet up with the transfer stage, get inside, wait for the Duna to Kerbin transfer window, transfer back to Kerbin, ditch the engine and tank, re-enter Kerbin's atmosphere, open up the parachute, land, and recover the vessel. So finally, after several years in space, Urk is home. And unharmed. So we'll give him a one-day break, and then send him back out.
1 day?
So, after a long and tedious design... Okay, let me let him back in.
Kevin, don't ask no more questions, alright?
Anyway, after a long design process, here is what the program has come up with. The wonderfully named Urk's Tomb.
Okay.
To remind him of how long he's going to be staying there. This craft is a ground base. Its goal is to land on the surface of Duna and use this little module here, a science lab. In a science lab, you place important data, collected from experiments, and analyze it. It takes in one science as one data, and after analysis, gives you 5 science. So basically, science times 5. Pretty pog if you ask me. Now, Mr. Kevin. Oh yeah? I'm going to issue you a challenge. If you can design the transfer craft and launcher for this base, I won't throw you into space ever again. Oh, and you have 4 seconds. Go.
He's gonna fail.
Okay, time's up. Oh, yeah, I think I did pretty good. Let's see what you got for us, Kevin.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Not too bad.
It's beautiful. The optimized engines, the fuel ducts leading into the center stage, the 300 kilograms off the mass limit, the slightly scuffed fairing.
It even has a watermark.
Look at Kevin.
Okay, so, Kevin?
W creation.
It's bad.
What?
Anyway, we're gonna use this vehicle to take us to Duna. Oi! Why'd you throw me out? You're using me craft. Yeah, anyway. Let's get this guy up and into orbit.
Man, threw my man Kevin out anyway.
Alright. I think you know the drill by now.
Look at Kevin's W invention. Got them where they needed to go, and my man still got thrown out into space.
For the final time, Urk has touched down on Duna. Unfortunately for him, he will never leave again.
What?
He plants a flag and inscribes the plaque with... Uh-oh. Poor Urk. He goes and runs all the experiments available on the craft. This would ordinarily create a pretty big bounty of science for us. But with this science lab, we can turn it into a huge amount of science. Given some time. And, after a year and a half of sitting inside a cramped room collecting data, Urk has generated over 8,000 science for the program to use. Urk has made great sacrifices for our space program.
Way better than Jed.
And for that,
way
we are
more
thankful.
useful.
Thank you, Urk. Godspeed. Oh, wait, what the hell? Where'd he go?
That's Kevin. You shouldn't have played with him.
Kevin?
Oh, you're finished.
Hey, Kevin, what are you doing? What the fuck? Where'd you get that from? Kevin, get back. Kevin, what the fuck? Where'd you get that? Kevin? I'm doing my own thing. Fuck you. Kevin!
That's why you can't make enemies, bruh. About to be galactic warfare.
Where'd he go? What the hell? He'll come back, right?
Nope.
Right? Well, anyway, where were we? Ah, that's right. With our huge bounty of science, we can research new and exciting technologies. Better heat shields, more efficient engines, and special nuclear reactors are all available to us now. Very good. I think this means we should start building...
For launch 4, let's get it.
So, we've conquered Duna. Some probes, a landing, and a base. Now let's move closer to the sun, to the purple boy. Eve. The biggest bastard in the solar system. What are we going to do there? The exact same thing as with Duna, but with a single launch. We're going to send a relay probe and a base. No lander this time around, because leaving Eve is reserved for people that have gained access to their entire nervous system. So why is Eve a total bitch to leave? 3 things. Its very dense atmosphere, general girthiness, and high gravity. At sea level, the atmosphere is so dense that some engines simply don't work at all. The other reason is that to orbit Eve, you need to be going at around 3,000 meters per second, which is pretty quick. So no leaving for us.
That's a lot of fuel you gotta use.
On this one-way trip to the purple hellscape, we have recruited our man, our boy, our hero, Obson Kerman. He'll be seated in the craft science lab for the remainder of his life. Poor Obson. Anyway, you know the drill? Let's get to Eve.
Like, if I could go back and be a kid again, I would, you know what I'm saying? I might become an astronaut. I don't know. What I know now, if I would have knew it back then, I probably would have, you know what I'm saying, dedicated my life to going to space. But I don't. So, or I didn't know all of this stuff. So now, you know what I'm saying? I get to watch Martin talk about it. And I was good at math too. Physics, get it out of here. All right, I ain't like all them equations. But that's why we got computers now. You know what I'm saying? You just put in the numbers.
Now that we're in orbit, we lower it into the atmosphere. Time accelerator ahead, burn up and explode.
Finished.
Just kidding. I'm a professional, and this is definitely something I would never do. What actually happened is I put the lowest point of the orbit around 50 kilometers up so the atmosphere can slow us down. Wow, would you look at that? It's getting hot. Really, really hot. Must be all that friction, right? Yeah, that friction really generates a lot of heat on re-entry, doesn't it, guys? Yeah, friction! Definitely couldn't be any other mechanism other than friction. Oh. Hello?
It's Kevin. It's Kevin.
Yeah, who is this? Wait, what about the YouTube comments? Oh, it's not friction? Huh. No, I didn't get it wrong in the last video. You see, there's this guy in my class, and he's called Kevin. Hello again. It's me, Vsauce Derek. I'm here to talk to you about compression. No, not video compression.
channel.
Air compression. Air compression is actually what causes the heating on re-entry. But how? Well, first off, what is air made of? Pretty simple.
Internet
It's made of
theories, welcome
molecules.
back, my boy.
A whole lot of molecules. Now, what is temperature? Also pretty simple. It's how much a given molecule or atom is vibing. More vibes equals more kinetic energy, which equals higher temperature. Fairly simple. So as you can imagine, if you squish a bunch of air molecules together, they're going to bump into each other quite a lot.
Facts.
Bumping into each other equals more vibes, which equals higher temperature. Now, normally moving around in the air doesn't burn you to a crisp because the air molecules can get out of the way. However, say we're traveling at a modest 3 kilometers per second. The air molecules now don't have any time to get out of the way and are compressed into a superheated plasma. Pretty cool. Actually no, pretty hot. Which is why we have this heat shield. Anyway, we don't burn up in the atmosphere, deploy the chutes, jettison the heat shield, deploy the legs, and touch down on the surface of heat. Very good. Hobson leaves the confines of the science lab for the last time in his life and plants a flag reading, Hobson in the house.
Facts.
Nice. Once he gets back inside, he begins working through the mountain of data, slowly turning it into sweet, sweet science. How much science? Well, after 3.5 years, he manages to acquire 25,000 science points.
3.5 years. On another planet. By yourself. I'm done. Alright? There is not enough content. You know what I'm saying? Now they give me one of them little androids from Detroit Become Human to go up there. Listen. I can stay up here and collect science all day.
Well done, Hobson. Good job. Like the last time, we use the science to unlock more parts, and then we go out again. So, there we go. Eve conquered in one launch. Very good. Next up, the Joule system. Now there's a problem with going to Joule. It's very far away, which means our high-powered 4G antennas can't reach it to communicate with our crafts. Even if we upgraded to the skin-melting speeds of 5G, the signal will still be lost behind all the planets. The solution? A relay satellite network in orbit of Joule. Like real 5G, our satellites are short range. So how do we solve this problem? More satellites.
That's
Behold,
crazy.
the great and powerful Telstra Incorporated 5G tower dispenser. The most powerful rocket ever built. 16 satellites per layer, 2 layers per hex section, 3 hex sections. In total, 96 satellites in a single launch. Very nice. 5G coverage.
That's insane.
Here we come.
See, I didn't see all them satellites. Maybe they were inside the capsule.
To spread the satellites out nice and far, we place the craft into an orbit intersecting Joule's chunkiest moon, Tylo. Then we max out the reaction wheels, spin up the craft to a truly eye-watering speed, and...
I'm trying to start shooting off. This is crazy.
And there we go. We've rendered the map completely unusable, but we've also placed probes absolutely everywhere. I see this as a complete win.
Something like that.
Now I know I said I'd do an ELU base this episode, but I can't be asked. Once again, you'll have to wait for episode 3. I'll tell you when the next one comes out, but only if you subscribe. This is not optional.
Hey, we subbed already.
Oh, and
you know
also
what I'm
follow my
saying?
Twitter to gain deep insights into the human experience. This is also not optional. And while you're at it, like the video.
W man.
Come on now. Being real for a minute, I
Hold on. How you holding the third gun? Huh? Got questions.
haven't really acknowledged that I have in fact grown a whole lot. Thank you all.
Dang, my man was at 156 back then. What is he at now? 1.1 milli, boys. Come on now. 2 years of work.
For
my boy.
150,000 subscribers. If you have a 1080p monitor,
Like that
this is
button.
what 150,000 pixels looks like. Each pixel in this yellow square is one of you. Pog.
Dang.
Unless you aren't subscribed. Not Pog.
We sub,
Speaking
my
of
boy.
not Pog, I've ordered a bunch of new PC bits, but they're all out of stock. Hopefully once they all arrive, the videos can be 60 FPS at 1440p.
Boy, this was back in the when GPUs, you had to go to the Wild Wild West to get them, boy.
Which would be pretty cool. Anyway, boyos,
Saying
Merry Christmas,
lies.
Happy Holidays, and adios.
Listen, this space program game is teaching me things, okay? That's why I like stuff like this. So when I go around my friends and they be, you know what I'm saying, having Twitter conversations, you know what I'm saying, the conversations of people who only read headlines, I'm like, nah, I don't think that's like what is going on, you know what I'm saying? And they don't be believing me. They should probably sub to Martin. They might learn something, you know what I'm saying? Or infographics, Vsauce. There's a lot of information out there, all right? But listen, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. We about to do the 3rd installment sometime in the next couple days. So make sure y'all hit the sub button, join the live stream. But until the next time I see y'all, peace.
Who said we ain't bout it, touch the gang and you'll get touched. She ride it, Kawasaki, roll my blinks and keep it quiet. Money is the motive, so we keep it on our mind. You'll get put in the stretcher, yellow tape, so please don't try.